for them today. We got a variety of candidates here, and they are so glad to be with us today in Tarboro, North Carolina, which is the county seat for Edgecombe County. We have, as a part of the Democratic Women of Edgecombe County, none other than our very own county commissioner, our very own Viola Harris. And she's going to be our hostess for today, our MC. She's going to bring everybody to you in her own special, unique, wonderful way. First, I want to introduce to you, though, the chairperson of the Democratic Women of Edgecombe County, Miss Melanie Goff Bradley. Give her a hand.
Welcome, and thank you so much for coming out today. We are good Democrats, like Martha said, and good Democrats practice citizenship. That means we take our rights and responsibilities seriously. It's written in the Constitution that we have the right and the responsibility to vote. That means we are voters, and voters are people who vote. Voters are people who vote every time there's an election, and not just presidential years like this one, but every year and every election. And not just general elections, which is very important and coming up on November 8th, or in early voting starting October 20th, but in primaries and in runoffs, because that's what a voter does. A voter is someone who votes. And we here, with the Democratic Women of Edgecombe County, want you to be voters. And we want you to get out and tell your friends and family to be voters and to help us elect more and better Democrats for the good of our community and our county, our state, and our nation. Thank you.
Good morning. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask Commissioner from Pine Tops, Ms. Pender, to come up and start us off in prayer. It's Saturday morning, but it is always a good time to open up with prayer. As a county commissioner across the state, they're trying to stop us from praying before meetings. When that day comes in Edgecombe County, it'll be time for me to go home. But I just believe that we need to pray that we have a good day. That's all we're going to pray about, that we have a good day.
Good morning. It's so good to see all of you here, and praying that others will be coming. We just thank God for another day, and we thank Him for being here in Tarboro, the great city of Tarboro, North Carolina. Would you bow your head with me and pray? Eternal God, our Father, the Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we bless you this morning because of who you are, because of your love for us. We thank you for being alive this morning. We thank you for assembling this day to carry out the business of the Democratic Party, to win souls for you, Lord, first of all, and to get excited about what we are coming to do this year. We praise you for what is going on right now, how you are revealing things to us on every hand. And Lord, we are just so grateful that we have a discerning spirit, that we are able to understand what's going on. So, Father, we pray that this place will be saturated with folks who are coming to find out what's going on over here at the administration building in Tarboro. God, we pray that those will be stirred up and get excited about the privilege of coming together and voting and deciding who will be our next leader. So, Father, give us a will to be able to tell somebody else that it's important to reach out to others who don't know, that they may become educated to the things that you would have us to know. Thank you for the leadership of this group. We thank you for the volunteers. We thank you for all who have assembled. And God, we pray that you will have your way this day as we continue to talk about what we came to do this morning. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yes, ma'am. Mighty quiet out there after such a powerful prayer. Mighty quiet, mighty quiet.
Somebody ought to say, clap your hands. All right. Somebody ought to say, amen.
Amen. Let us all stand and pledge allegiance to the flag, please. We don't force anyone, but you're a proud American and you're a proud Democrat. Let's pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now she didn't give me an agenda and tell me how to handle this, so I'm going to do it my way. I think it's what Frank Sinatra said. There's a storm out on the ocean and it's moving this away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, you will surely drift away. Drift away, Lord. Drift away, Lord. You will surely drift away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, you will surely drift away. There's a storm out on the ocean and it's moving this away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, you will surely drift away. Drift away, Lord. Drift away, Lord. You will surely drift away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, you will surely drift away. Democrats, I'm not talking about the storm that's out there on the ocean. I'm talking about a political storm. And if you're not paying attention, we are going to drift away.
Amen.
That political storm is bringing divisiveness.
Yeah.
That political storm is raising racism to the top of its head once again.
Yeah.
So remember, there's a storm out on the ocean, and you have got to be the change in this storm. So we brought some Democrats that are running statewide who want to make a change and help calm that storm that's out there on the ocean. So this morning we've got two who have already come, and we don't want to hold them too long. So we're going to let them come on up and give you some remarks so that you can get to know them before you check their name on the ballot. Too many times we go to the ballot box and we have not educated ourselves on who people are or what they stand for. So today the Democratic women of Edgecombe County want to give you an opportunity to see some of these folks up front, to ask them some real personal questions, to ask them what they stand for and what they would give up just to make it on the ballot. All right? First of all, we're going to bring up a judge that I was able to meet, and this young man has proven that he has the interest of the state of North Carolina. And I want you to make sure that you get an opportunity to shake his hand, ask him some questions, and I'm talking about none other than Judge Mike Morgan. Not only has he been a judge, he's a teacher of judges. That means he knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to bring our next North Carolina Supreme Court judge to the podium and let him introduce himself. Let's give him a hand and welcome him to Edgecombe County. Judge Mike Morgan. Thank you, Commissioner, and hello, Edgecombe County. What a beautiful day here in Tarboro. So many wonderful people, so many opportunities to make new friends and renew friendships as we are here, courtesy of the Edgecombe County Democratic Women. Let's give them a hand. Thanks to the Democratic Women of Edgecombe County for bringing us today hot dogs and handshakes, two of my favorite things to do these days. This is a beautiful opportunity. I thank all of you so very much for allowing us to come here together and to give me a chance to speak to you briefly. My name is Judge Mike Morgan. I am a candidate for the North Carolina Supreme Court. I thank you, first of all, for getting me through the primary that I had in June. There were 4 of us that were involved. Thank you. There were 4 of us involved. The top 2 of us move on to November, and I've got the opportunity now to go forward in that vein and be on the ballot as we move forward in this critical election year. I'm running on the strength of 27 years on the bench of North Carolina, 11 and a half current years as a Superior Court judge, 10 and a half years prior to that as a District Court judge, and 5 years even prior to that as a state administrative law judge. So 27 years of experience on the bench of North Carolina altogether as I continue to ascend towards the North Carolina Supreme Court. As our great commissioner said about me, in addition to being in the courtroom, I'm also in the classroom. For the last 24 consecutive years, I've been blessed and fortunate to be a faculty member at the National Judicial College. It's located on the campus of the University of Nevada out in Reno. In going there for the last 24 years in a row, I've been teaching judges from across the country how to be better judges. They gave me their very nice and prestigious Teacher of the Year award last year for the whole country. So I'm in the courtroom, I'm in the classroom, but also I know what it is to get out in the community, just like in Tarboro and just across the line over in Princeville. And what we need to do is make sure that we remember who we are and whose we are. So we need to get out and roll up our sleeves and help in the community, and that's what I do. I take the robe off and go out and do what I can to make sure that I can make my contribution to society. Going to church groups, going to youth groups, going to senior groups, going to all other kinds of community groups. Because to whom much is given, much is required. And I know I've been blessed in my life, and that's why I offer myself a higher service. The other individual who's in this race is my opponent, who's an incumbent. He holds himself out to have a political disposition. He puts it on his yard signs. He says that he is a conservative judge. Judges aren't supposed to say anything about some kind of political preference they have. Judges are only supposed to be fair and impartial. But you know if he's going to put conservative judge on his yard signs, you know what he's going to be doing behind closed doors, and that just ain't right. So we need to make sure that we have fairness, justice, and equality for everybody. That's all I'm about. Because that's what judges are supposed to be. That's all I've been for 27 years. So I need you to remember me, because we've got a battle going on, as the commissioner said. It's for the heart and soul of North Carolina. So we need to make sure we get out to vote. Too many people died for our right to get out to vote. People getting out there being hosed and having dog bites and being beaten and being threatened and having their houses burned and all kinds of situations to keep us from exercising our right to vote. It's too important, especially in North Carolina this year. We have got to get out and exercise that right to vote. You don't have to wait for November 8th. There's early voting available. Please remember that, because you don't need to wait and take a chance on bad weather or illness or some other emergency. Get out to vote early. Be smart and exercise that right, and then get out and take somebody else and motivate them to vote. Because when you don't vote, you still voted. Because you allow somebody else's vote to count twice as much as yours would have been. Don't empower people like that. Keep your own power. Exercise your right to vote. And when you get out to vote, please remember some other judges as well that are running for statewide judicial office as well. There's Ricky McCoy Mitchell out of Charlotte, a district court judge. Vince Rozier, a district court judge in Wake County. Margaret Eagles, also a district court judge in Wake County. There's the incumbent, who is Linda Stevens, who is also running. We've got a number of judges that are running. A. Jones, Ricky McCoy Mitchell, Vince Rozier, Margaret Eagles, and Linda Stevens. All running for the Court of Appeals in separate races. All good Democrats, all with judicial experience. Please remember all of them. They're on the cards that I bought that are on the table. But while I want you to remember them, I surely want you to remember me. So when you get out there, please remember to vote for me, Judge Mike Morgan, for the North Carolina Supreme Court. I know you're going to do it in Edgecombe County because I know what you can do. Thank you so much for what you do. Edgecombe County Democrats, thank you. Democratic women of Edgecombe County, thank you. We're going to turn this state blue. We're going to turn this state successful. We're all going to be in the winner's circle come November. Thank you very much. Now that's the kind of energy we want, all right? We're going to bring up a young man who was raised on the farm, like many of us, knows what hard work is all about. And he is running for a very important office. If you were born and raised here in Edgecombe County, you know that agriculture was the lifeline for all of our parents and foreparents. So this young man, Walter Smith, is a candidate for the North Carolina Commission of Agriculture and Consumer Services. We got Ms. Wilson sitting out there, and she's a prime candidate to tell you about them consumer services. So make sure you talk to her before you leave, Mr. Smith. She can give you a lot of information, especially about Edgecombe County. Let's give him a warm welcome, Walter Smith.
Thank you, Edgecombe County. It is great to be here. This reminds me a lot of where I was born and raised down in the southern part of the state. Very rural, raised on a tobacco farm, spent 12 to 14 hours a day, so I know the value of hard work. But let me give you just a little background about myself. Other than being raised on a farm, I attended NC State University, received an ag engineering degree, taught vocational agriculture for a short while before I went to work with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I spent over 30 years with USDA, administering federal farm programs, making loans to farmers, many minority farmers. We had special programs for minority farmers and displaced farmers and beginning farmers. And that was important. That was an important part of my job to help that. I retired from there. I'm back to farming. And in the meantime, I was actually served as the mayor of the town of Boonville up in western North Carolina. So that gave me another perspective on consumer issues and how to deal with the public. Agriculture is the #1 industry in North Carolina. But we got problems. Our farmers, especially family farmers, they're struggling to survive. Rural communities and towns, just like right here, they're in a decline. And the Republicans haven't done anything to help you. So I want to make new direction to the department. We want new ideas. We want to make the family farm profitable again. And we want to rebuild the rural communities. We do that by giving them the same things that the urban communities have. You need broadband internet. You need adequate health care. You need infrastructure. And you need jobs. And agriculture has the potential with the right leadership to add billions, that's B with a B, billions of jobs to the economy of North Carolina and tens of thousands of jobs, mostly to rural North Carolina, if we have the right leadership. Now there's a lot of other things the department does, and I want to mention just a few. Consumer services. They're responsible for things like making sure the cosmetics you use, the drugs you take, are safe and properly labeled. They make sure that the beds you sleep on, the pillows, the sleeping bags are sanitary. They make sure the scanners at the stores that you shop at ring up the correct price and you aren't cheated. They make sure that the weights and scales are accurate, so when you buy meat and produce, you don't get cheated there. And they also make sure that when you buy a gallon of gas, you actually get a gallon of gas. Those are just some of the things that consumer services part of the agriculture that's important to me. But there's more. They're also responsible for our environment. They have programs to make sure our water quality is safe. They're responsible for animal welfare. They regulate, inspect, and license kennels. And they don't do a darn thing about it. Just in North Carolina this year, we had one of the largest animal rescues in the history of this country. Over 600 animals had to be rescued by animal welfare groups. It's been going on for years and years of complaints, and finally the animal rights groups or animal welfare groups stepped in. And the news media contacted the Department of Agriculture, who's supposed to be overseeing all this. Said, where have you been? Did you know what was going on? They admitted they knew about the problems with this kennel and shelter, the complaints for over 10 years, since 2005, and they didn't do a darn thing while these animals suffered and died. That's not right, and it won't happen under my leadership. They're also responsible for food safety. We got 128,000 people every year that have to go to the hospital, and 3,000 die in this country because of foodborne illnesses. That will be one of my top priorities. We want to make sure the food you eat and feed your family is safe. And there's one other thing the department does not do that I have a real concern about, and that's food insecurity in North Carolina. We are one of the top 10 states in the nation in food shortages. 1 out of every 4 children are food insecure under the age of 18, and we have food deserts scattered all over North Carolina. I promise as your new commissioner that I will lead the fight to feed the hungry in North Carolina. There's one other area that our commissioner followed down on, and that's diversity in the department. There are no minorities in the top leadership or management of the Department of Agriculture. So how can he represent North Carolina when almost a third of the population is not even represented in his management? He has no idea what's going on. We're going to change that. We have farmers that make up his rural committee, his advisory committee. I talked to a guy last week, and he told me that he did not know of a single minority all over the state on this committee. That's another thing we're going to change. Now, we have an opportunity. I'm excited about this election. We've got a great opportunity. We've got an opportunity to elect Roy Cooper, our next Democratic governor. A completely Democratic council of state. We got a chance to send Deborah Ross to the Senate and retire Senator Byrne early. And we got a chance to flip not just 4 House seats, which we had intentions of doing to start with, but we can actually flip probably twice that many or more in North Carolina if we get out and work. And that means that when these reckless Republicans pass some of these stupid bills that they've passed, attacking our minorities, our women, our voting rights, our education, the working class in North Carolina, Governor Cooper's going to pull out that big stamp, and he's going to go whack, and he's going to put that veto on it, and we got the votes to sustain it. So I'm asking you, this is an important election, and if a coordinated campaign or any of your county volunteers ask you to volunteer, please don't look at your calendar and say, let me see if I have the time. I want you to say, yes, where and when do you want me there? Because the coordinated campaign is doing a great job in North Carolina, and they are here to help us. Now, there's an old saying that goes, if it's important to you, you will find the time, and if it's not, you'll find an excuse. This is one of the most important elections we will have in our lifetime.
That's right, amen.
So let's find the time, and let's don't find any excuses between now and November 8th. Let's turn this state blue.
All right. Have we had any of our statewide candidates to show up so far after these gentlemen?
Richardson, Bobby Richardson.
All right, make your way to the podium. ladies and gentlemen, we now have a young lady who's coming who may not directly represent Edgecombe County, but anytime we need her, she's here. Anything that's going on around her, she's there. That's the kind of representative you want sitting in the legislature. Not the kind that's just sitting there visiting their particular county with their issues. So I am so happy to have Bobby Richardson here in Edgecombe County. She may not have it on her driver's license, but she is at home. So let's give her a hometown welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, Edgecombe County, women, Jim, and all of your men support. We're so glad to be here today to rally with you to turn this county and all counties in North Carolina blue. We need to get back the values of North Carolina. We need to get back a strong educational system. We need to get back livable wages. We need to get back health care for everybody that can or cannot afford it. Doesn't matter, because our president has made way for that. We need to make sure that the food that we eat is safe and that the regulations are in place. And we are now dealing with a General Assembly, and I am in that body, but I am in the minority that do not see things as we see things. I am a representative for Nash and Franklin County, but as the commissioner said, we serve all North Carolinians, and we want all North Carolinians to have access to great schools, whether it's public school education, higher education, community college, or trade schools, whatever it is that students choose to select to further their education. We also are in the business now of trying to fund 4 different types of educational systems on the taxpayer dollars. We are a General Assembly that are supposed to be making laws based on the Constitution, and you can probably count on 2 hands the lawsuits that we have had that has said that the laws in North Carolina that we are making are unconstitutional. Guess who pays for those court cases? The taxpayers. Yes, the taxpayers pay for those court cases. And right now we are sitting here with the loss of one of the most enjoyed activity of North Carolina sports, is losing the ACC and the CAAA sports activities that has brought millions of dollars into this state. We are looking at a $30 million deficit because these athletic associations has chosen not to play balls or sports in a state that discriminates. However you want to look at HB2, the bathroom piece is part of it, but the discrimination piece was the piece that I voted against. In Raleigh, we have a tendency to pile bills on top of bills. Even in our sessions, if you remember last year, the motorcycle bill became the abortion bill. We went into session thinking that we were going to vote on safety for motorcycle riders, and they had attached the abortion bill to it. So when you look at a bill like that, and I voted no for it, someone who's a motorcycle rider would say that I don't want them to be safe on the highway. That's not the case. I could not vote for the bill because I do believe that women's health is a woman's choice. So we've had a similar bill this year. The bathroom bill was loaded down with limitation for local government. They limited local government's ability to make wage increases for their staff. They made a law that said you could be discriminated against and you could not have recourse in our state courts, only in the federal courts, and that is quite a lengthy and a costly process. We've gone back and repealed a little bit of that, but we already were a right-to-work state, and you could be fired for almost anything. But the difference was you had recourse, you could have due process. We have adopted an educational program called the Achievement School District. The superintendent could be here in Tarboro And the schools that are identified to be served could be in Western North Carolina. That district or that program, that charter school, private for-profit program has failed in 3 states. It's failed in Tennessee, it's failed in New Orleans, and it's failed in Michigan. So now we are going to adopt it and say that we're going to do something differently with it. The Department of Public Instruction has a school improvement program that has shown tremendous growth, and we have Board of Education members here. I'm sure we have educators here that can vouch that once the Department of Public Instruction brings that program into their system, they have seen tremendous student improvement. But we will only fund about 5 or 10 of those schools per year. We need to invest in things that work. We need to have an educational system that is there for all. And even though the voucher program or the opportunity scholarship is chartered to be a school program for low-income, quote, single-parent families, I challenge you, how many low-income parents, if they are working or not working, can afford to drive across town or to another county or to access these programs? There is a hardship, and transportation is not afforded in all cases. In all cases, food may or may not be afforded, and that is something that our students need. Most of our schools are on free lunch. I am here to ask you, if you know anyone in Franklin County or Nash County that are in District 7, would you please ask them to cast a vote for me for November the 8th, because I know that North Carolina can do differently. I know that the values that we have for education, for economic development, for health care, for infrastructure, and for safety of our environment is something that we need to fight for. And the only way we can change what's happening in Raleigh is to change the people that are making the laws in Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you, and hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll get a hot dog, and I already bought a water, and I almost walked away without paying for it, but the lady back there will vouch that I did pay for it. Let's get this vote out. This is the most critical vote that we will take in a long time, because what we do on November the 8th will have impact down the road from my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and all other children that come along, because one of our candidates is already talking about disabolishing the Department of Education. How do you operate a state when you do not have guidance as to how to train and teach your students? You know the story. If you didn't know the story, you wouldn't be here. And for those of us that are running, I just saw Judge Martin, I see Judge Lamont out there, and the commissioners that are here in Tarboro, and the school board members. But the citizens have the power. No one can get elected to any elected office if the citizens of that county do not vote them in. You are responsible for the people that are serving you. And if you do not like the services that you are given, do what Trump says. Fire them. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Right here, we're going to bring the Nash County Democratic women representatives, because we're the Democrats, whether we live in Edgecombe County or Nash County. We are Democrats. And the Democratic women of Edgecombe County and the Democratic women of Nash County get along well, because our objective is to help Democrats be elected. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura O'Neill, and I'm the Vice President of Nash County Democratic Women. I bring you greetings from Rosita Wiggins, who's our president. She, this weekend, is in Washington, D.C. with the Black Caucus and having a wonderful time. She sent me all kinds of pictures, And so we wish her well and a safe journey home. I just want to say there is no railroad track between Nash and Edgecombe when it comes to Democratic women. There is no railroad track. And we are blue everywhere. Blue is our favorite color. I also want to encourage you to please vote as Bobby has just suggested. And I like Obama's comment, don't boo, vote. And if you have not picked up one of these one-page sample ballots that's on the table over there, please pick one up. It's going to be a very heavy ballot this year, front and back. And so you really need to educate yourself on all of these candidates. So be sure and pick one up. And I just thank you for having us. We wanted to come and show our support. Thank you. And be sure to vote early. Early voting wins the vote. Thank you.
As she said, make sure you pick up one of these flyers, especially if you have elderly parents, grandparents. Those are our folks that we can count on to vote. But we need to make sure that we help educate them on people that they don't get to see every day. They may not know the names of judges. So this is your opportunity to take this home and help them make a good choice when they go to the ballot box. Make copies of it. Spread it around your family. When your folks come out of the church, hand it to them. They can take it home and get ready for election time. Early voting starts here in Edgecombe County, October 20th. You don't have to wait till November the 8th, October 20th. Early voting starts. Make sure you look and find out where your voting areas are so you can be there when the doors open October the 20th. All right, I think I saw a judge candidate, but he seems to be eating one of those delicious hot dogs over there. So we're going to give him a minute to finish that up. Right here, we're going to ask our Edgecombe County Board of Education Chair to come and have a few comments. As we know, education is very important, especially here in Edgecombe County. And I see another member, Evelyn Johnson, is here. We can let them tag team and give you an update. What's going on at the Board of Education? For those of you who do not attend their meetings on the second Monday of every month at 6:30, they're going to give you an update and let you know what's going on. There's been some good news in the newspaper. So we want to make sure that we continue to encourage the school board as they encourage all 15 of our schools.
Thank you, Viola. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, whichever it is right now. I'm so excited that the Democratic women have taken the time to plan an opportunity for us to learn who we need to vote for. Without this type activity, people will not automatically know and remember to vote for all of these Democratic candidates. And it's all about education. We have to teach every person that we take to the polls to vote, and I say we take because that's our job and responsibility to inform. I'm not going to stand here and talk about all of the school issues today because we're here to talk about getting out the vote. Now, Viola told you when we meet, that is the second Monday in each month, and any other time you choose to contact us. Dr. Johnson, come on up. I'm going to have Dr. Johnson had more energy than all 7 board members together. She's out working in the community, in the schools, and what we need more than anything about the schools, we need the support of the parents, the grandparents, and guardians who are taking care of our children. Because these are the individuals who make sure that the students are in school every day. That's the only way we can teach them.
Good evening. It is said that we are in the best of times and the worst of times. When you're old as I am, I remember when you would have a rally like this and the people will be everywhere. Education is the key to everything. People don't really realize where we are right now in this world. We are plowing back over grounds that we already had fixed. So the word must get out. We've got to ignite the communities to really realize what's at stake. What will our world look like 5 years from now if we sit down and don't voice our opinions? Listen, folks, back in the day, we did it the hard way. But today, our enemy and our friend is this thing right here. If the kids can get it, send it that way. But it's nothing like face-to-face conversations, because you cannot find out what people are about until you can talk to them and ask them questions. So I encourage you to get the communities out. Just anybody you find, just stop them and tell them what is at stake this year. What we need, our schools, our children, old folks, everybody now is at risk. If we don't get out, if we don't get the right people in the right places, and the folks you see, what you see and what you hear is what you're going to get. So be very careful with people who give you these little funny words. You better be smart enough to know that if it looks like a duck, and if it quacks like a duck, I guarantee you it is a duck. So I ask you to this year, make yourself a committee of one, and go out every day and find somebody to educate, because a lot of people don't know what's at stake. Some folks say, my vote won't count. I'm not going to vote for either one of those people. But guess what? You're going to live in a world that somebody's going to make some decisions. And you ought to, whatever comes of it, you ought to be one of the ones that say, I voted, even if I didn't get what I want. But please, the vote is how we started, and the vote is how we should always be. Encourage our folks that your voice is your vote. Your vote is your voice. Encourage our community to get involved, because Edgecombe County has one of the highest illiteracy rates, has one of the highest poverty rates, cancer. We are high in a lot of things, but we've got a good county. We can do better than we are if we all get together. By the hands of many, a great work is done. So I ask you to join hands, talk, walk, speak, say the things you need to say, because we need to stamp out ignorance everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. What did I tell you? I told you she's full of energy, gonna work every day. As a matter of fact, we have a school board now in place. 7 members, 7 loving members, caring members about our young people. Now, I'm disappointed that we didn't bring busloads of young people here who needs to start learning early. When I first started running to participate on the Edgecombe County Board of Education, I had one daughter, and at 7 years old, she was by my side at every meeting, at everything. And when she turned 13 years old, she looked at me and said, Mama, why in the world I can't go in there with you and vote? I know who to vote for. She knew who to vote for because she had been right by my side. And she could not wait until she was old enough to register and vote. She didn't come home from school that day. When she did get home, she said, guess what? I've already registered to vote. And she's been voting, and her 2 boys started about 8 years old going to the polls with her because in Durham they have a little booth for children to go in and express themselves. So my grandsons, now I don't have to call them. I don't have to give them this piece of paper. I have to give it to somebody else, because we have been talking about getting to the polls to vote, the importance of it all their lives. And this is what we have to do, is to get more of our young people informed. And we cannot start too soon, okay? Now, I like to see the room jam-packed the next time we have our board meeting, the second Monday in October, because you need to hear for yourself, not what's in the newspaper, but hear it for yourself what we're doing. We're doing everything that we can positively to improve the school district in Edgecombe County. And if you are not aware that our school district is improving, then you need to talk to me when I put this microphone down. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Seems like you're quieting down. Let me have a round of applause for Democrats everywhere. Right now, we're going to bring up a gentleman that's running for judge, Lamont Wiggins, out of the city of Rocky Mount, the Edgecombe County side. He's homegrown and he's a Democrat.
Already intimated to you, I am an Edgecombe County native and resident, born and reared, lived here all my life, with the exception of the time that I went to law school and college. So I'm definitely committed to this county, this area, this region, and its residents, and I don't have any intentions of going anywhere. I'm Edgecombe County born, Edgecombe County bred, and when I'm planning, I'm going to be Edgecombe County dead. I already got my spot. But I am a lifelong community servant. I am a 20-year elected official. I am currently the Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Rocky Mount and the longest serving council member for the City of Rocky Mount. And I have been a 22-year practicing attorney, primarily in Edgecombe County, Nash, and Wilson counties. So I spent most of my practice career here in this area, but I have appeared throughout the state. I am licensed to practice in federal courts, United States Eastern District Court. I have done almost everything that there is to do in the district court arena. And by way of background, the district court is the court that touches most people. That is the court where all child custody cases are heard. It is the court where all juvenile court matters are heard, some mental health matters, as well as some civil cases, and of course criminal cases. I say criminal cases last because I want to help everybody understand that the court system and the judicial system is not just about crime and punishment. What we have when we have people that come before us, our citizens, our residents of this county, we have people that come before us who have issues and problems, and they are looking for solutions to those issues and problems. That's the way that they need to be responded to. That's the way that they need to be treated. In any instance, incarceration should be the last thing that we do, whether it's in the criminal courts or the civil courts, because incarceration costs. And we need to be keeping as many people as we can in our communities, and in particular, our men in our communities, so that they can be contributing citizens to this area and to this region. I want to help people also understand what the nexus is between the court system and economic development. There are a number of issues that people come before the court for. One of those is the 4D court, or the Child Support Enforcement Court. Most people who come before the criminal courts, their issues are lack of employment, underemployment, or lack of education. Well, I am a multifaceted individual. I have helped create any number of community initiatives that lend towards economic and community development in my capacity as a local elected official. And I've tried to carry that over into my practice as an attorney. And when individuals or entities are looking at our area and they're looking at our region, one of the things that they look at is how many people do we have that we have sent to a career readiness program that is offered by the community college. They're going to look at that statistic, they're going to look at that number and say, you have 500-600 people or more, thousands of people who have demonstrated a minimum skill level where we can put these people to work. That helps business and industry determine that this is a place where we need to plant our seed and build this business and build this industry in our area and region. How does that translate into the court system is the question that you might ask. Well, if you have an individual who is underemployed or unemployed and you have the ability to direct them to the resource because you're an individual such as myself who has helped put them in place, who has helped fund them, just as our county commissioners have, Commissioner Harris has, and you say, okay, I'm going to tell you how to resolve your issue. And if you tell me how to resolve, if I tell you how to resolve your issue and you follow through, then hopefully this will be the result. So if that individual who is unable to make a court obligation because of all those issues, unemployment or underemployment or lack of education, well, if you have a judicial official, a judge, who will say, sir, ma'am, I'm going to order you to go to the community college, enroll in the career readiness program, complete the career readiness program. Then take that career readiness certificate to the workforce development program, and then they are going to be able to place you with this employer, and this employer. That solves two issues that that individual has, ladies and gentlemen. Number one is education. Number two is employment. That's the kind of person that we need to have on the bench. That is the kind of person that I am, ladies and gentlemen. I am the only candidate that has that depth and breadth of knowledge that one can put on the bench. Again, my modality, my focus is multifaceted. I am the only candidate who has practiced in almost every arena of the district court continuously for 22 years. The other contender has not done that by any way, shape, form, or fashion. Primary focus has just been prosecuting and putting people in jail before the criminal courts. That has been the focus of my opponent. I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, help me with this endeavor. Please, remember when you go to the polls and vote, remember the name Lamont Wiggins. Every registered voter in Edgecombe, Nash, and Wilson County is eligible to participate in this election. So spread the word to every individual that you might know in those three counties. And with your help and your support, I will be your next elected district court judge. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, make sure that you explain to your young people who are voting for the first time. Judges are very, very important. So make sure they don't just stop at the bottom. Turn over and make sure if there's a judge on the back, that they make sure that they make a stop and look for Lamont Wiggins, who's running for district court judge. All right. I see that we have one of our neighboring senators who has come up. We're going to ask Senator Angela Bryant to come. She also is not representing Edgecombe County directly, but she sends us a weekly email to make sure that we know exactly what's going on in the state of North Carolina. So we want to make sure that we give her a hometown welcome and make sure that we give her some backup because she's going to need it in the Senate. Angela Bryant.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you from neighboring Nash County, but you know I always feel like I represent Edgecombe County too, along with Representative Shelley Willingham and Senator Erica Smith Ingram. She really wanted to be here with you this morning, but she had a funeral that she had to be at in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's why she's not here. But we work together as a team to represent Nash and Edgecombe County and Halifax and Northampton and Wilson counties, all as a region together, because our success depends on us pulling together. And we know that part of that pulling together means that we pay attention to the ways in which Edgecombe has been excluded, treated as less, not equally developed, and supported over the years as Edgecombe should have. And a strong Edgecombe means our region is stronger. Also, for those of us in the African American community and in the inner city communities in the city of Rocky Mount, our economic prosperity and survival is really tied to support and connection with Edgecombe County. If we didn't have that support, we would not also be prosperous or have as much a chance to prosper. So we have to keep in mind how we are all connected. I also want to thank the elected officials. I see your clerk of court, County Commissioner Viola Harris, many of your community leaders that I know out here. I'd start calling names, I'll mess up, but so many of you out here, chair of the school board, Dar Stiff, who's a college friend of mine, others of you whose names are not coming to me right at this minute. But I also want to recognize your being here and your strong leadership in the Edgecombe County community to get, and all the accomplishments you've made to get us where we are today. We have some big things to celebrate. I mean, I think the CSX, if I can ever I'm able to say it right, I got to practice that. CSX. Hub, transportation hub being in Edgecombe County, isn't that a blessing? And I think that will be, hopefully that will be the catalyst to get a major industry at the Kingsborough mega site, and that would be a super duper duper blessing. And that we were able to save the Nash Rocky Mount school system by not letting them run over us in the inner city parts of Nash and Edgecombe counties, I think is a major accomplishment. And by doing that, we brought attention in the community to the work we need to do to support both our school systems in the Nash Edgecombe County area. And I think we will be doing that at a higher level going forward. Edgecombe County is the key to the Democrats winning in November. It is counties like Edgecombe that are strongly Democrat, reliably Democratic, that can make the difference. Because the problem is sometimes we take Edgecombe for granted because you're reliably Democratic, and we don't maximize the turnout. For Lamont Wiggins to win, Edgecombe has to have an astronomical turnout. We got to have an Obama turnout plus. It's got to be more than Obama. What we're facing now is a backlash that stems from the Obama wins. But they have shown us that even electing an African American president is not going to bring us the initiatives that we deserve. Living wage, housing programs, educational programs, health care, just fairness in the criminal justice system, all the things that we deserve. They are still saying we will stop you no matter what. So we have to do more than we thought we had done when we elected President Obama. So electing President Hillary Clinton is going to be the next wave of fairness and justice for us. And it is important that we are electing our first woman president, because in overcoming You cannot overcome racism without overcoming sexism. You cannot overcome sexism without overcoming classism and poverty. You cannot overcome classism and poverty without overcoming the regionalism that has us treating one part of the community or the state better than another part. So all those things we have to fight together. And you all are the key. Your Board of Elections, Florence Armstrong on the Board of Elections, and they did a great job in getting you early voting locations that are outstanding. You have no excuse. In Rocky Mount, we have locations at the Social Services Building, OIC, and OIC, 2 locations for early voting. In Pine Tops, you have the library, you have the administrative building here, you have the Cultural and Educational Development Center in Battleboro, and you have the fire department in Speed. So we have no excuse. I mean, we should leave no vote unvoted. We should leave no vote behind. So we have to get out in all these communities, work the churches, work our neighborhoods, and we can't expect somebody else to do it. We need everybody here to get votes out. And don't assume that people will vote just because it's a presidential year. We have great flyers for you with information on all the candidates. The other thing that's going to be a challenge is that our voters have to check every one of these boxes. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, about 25 boxes or more they have got to check. There's no straight Democratic ticket. So we have to have people willing, patient enough to go in and check each of these boxes. So the next handout we need to provide to you will be sample ballots, and we'll be getting some of those out to you as soon as we can. But this is to help them get familiar with these people they'll be voting for, so they will not think, you know, we're just checking boxes and we don't know who these people are. The pictures give you some sense of who they are. And so every one of these candidates is critical to the fairness and justice agenda that we need. For example, the judges. Just be aware that all of the rights that we have had that have been restored in terms of voting rights in the last few years have all come from the courts. All come from the courts. When they tried to keep teachers, the NCAE, from being able to deduct the dues for teachers, it was the courts that remedied that. All of the overreach that has happened from our Republican supermajority in the General Assembly, all of that has been curbed in the courts. So these judges are critical. We are down to 1 or 2 African Americans on the appellate courts. And we also need the representation from Edgecombe County African American community on the district court, which is the effort that Lamont has been waging for years. And we need to bring a victory to him and a victory to all these other judges, starting with the Supreme Court Judge Mike Morgan and going on down. That's in the 4th row of your handout. The Council of State, that's where our jobs are, where our state policies are handled. If we turn over to the Republicans our Council of State, the initiatives that they implement, the people they hire are not going to be as friendly to our community as it would be if we have Democratic Council of State members. Those policies will not be as favorable to us, and we've already been able to see the direction that is going. The Attorney General, we have Josh Stein running for Attorney General. Just imagine what it will mean if you have a alt-right, as they say, super right conservative Attorney General. What kind of cases are they going to be bringing, and who do we have to defend the rights we have in our community around civil rights and equity and racial equity? We will not have that. So I know that I hope you all understand the issues that are at stake. Dan Blue III is running for the state treasurer. The state treasurer controls the state health plan and the retirement system. Do we really want to turn that over to the Republican Party, both of those entities? I do not think so. That will not be favorable to state employees, to retirees in our community, and to current public employees. Because the Republican agenda, they really want to eliminate the defined retirement system that we have and put everyone on a 401k plan. They want to eliminate the idea that you would work X number of years, retire, and have a defined benefit that you receive. They want to leave that up to you, your contributions into a 401k that you can take in and out. Now, how many of us will end up with something when we retire in that kind of situation? Not at all. And they definitely want to eliminate retirement health care for retirees. And we're one of the few states that still provides that. So if you want to keep moving those kind of public policies in place, you will need to vote for the Democratic candidates on this, our candidate sheet that we have provided for you. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for coming out, and continue to work and support the Edgecombe County Democratic Women. It's exciting that they are sponsoring this event, and you'll need to sponsor several more between now and November 8th. Thank you very much.
We can always count on Senator Bryant to bring us some essential information that we need across the state. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a round of applause for the Democrats who've already come up to hear from our state superintendent of education. June Atkinson, we want to welcome you here to Edgecombe County. All right, let's give her a warm welcome to Edgecombe County.
Good afternoon to all of you. What a pleasure it is to be in Tarboro and Edgecombe County. I really appreciate all the people who are here today. I am June Atkinson, State Superintendent, and I'm running for re-election, and I really want and need your support. You know, as State Superintendent, I get to travel throughout North Carolina, and not too long ago, I went to a school, and as I was walking down the hall, I met this little girl named Kendall, and I said to Kendall, what do you want to learn in school this year? And as a second grader, she replied, I want to learn everything. And so I asked her, why do you want to learn everything? And she said, because I want to be a teacher. So I know that there are some teachers in the audience. There are people who worked on the local board of education. And we know that it's really important for each child in North Carolina to have a quality education. So I want you to continue to work on behalf of all the teachers in our state to make sure that they have competitive salaries, that they have the resources necessary for them to do a great job for each child. And our teachers are struggling because they do not have the necessary resources. In fact, if you go back to the year 2006, our teachers and our schools are receiving about half of the money that they did in 2006 for textbooks, digital resources, and instructional materials and supplies. And it is short-sighted on behalf of our state through the General Assembly that we continue to shortchange our children. Our children are our future. We need them to be educated well. So as a fellow Democrat, I ask you to vote for me again as state superintendent, and I also must add that it's really important to vote for all of our Democratic candidates. So I'm very easy to remember when it comes to telling all your friends to vote for June, because June is a month and we need people to vote in the months of October and November. And when they ask you why they should vote for me, please tell them that when I became State Superintendent of Public Instruction, our graduation rate was 68%. And now it has gone to another all-time high of 86%. So every child we graduate prevents a $1 million mistake on behalf of that student. So we need to continue to work. I appreciate your vote, and remember, June, in October, or November, and that it will be a great month for our kids in North Carolina when you re-elect me again as state superintendent. Thank you very much.
Before our next candidate comes up, we brought these young men over, so Ms. Jordan wants to make sure you do get to hear one song before they have to leave, and then we'll get right back to you.
Clear how to do it. 'Cause I got my hot spot on my phone, on my pocket. Oh yeah. Perfect. I'm about to head to front kind of other day. Yeah, I might ride by that.
Come on, Democrats. Let's see you wave your hands.
Oh,
Put them in the air like you just don't care about them Republicans. That's what we don't care about. We are here today, and you are here today. And so I want to give you your kudos right now, because you know you are here because you are a good Democrat. Give yourself a hand. You know, it always boils down to a faithful few, and you are the faithful few. But you can't just leave here today with the good words rolling around in your head. You got to take these good words, these inspirational words, and take them back to your communities, and take them back to your churches, and take them back to your families, and tell them that this is the reason that we have to get, we must get. It's important that we get more Democrats in all these different offices. We need a Democrat in the office, not only for the president, but we need Democratic judges. We need June Atkinson in there for our children. We need some senators in there for our families. We just need some good Democrats for us. If you agree with me, let me see you clap your hands. Let me hear you say amen. Y'all are just go down dry. I just can't hardly take that. I'm just one of them old loud Democrats that's good and glad to be a Democrat in the state of North Carolina. And I just would love to have somebody else to be right loud with me, you know. Let them know that we are here, we some good old Democrats. If you agree with me, let me see you wave your hand. I'm just trying to get y'all pumped up while they get this music straight. And y'all just making it so hard for me. I need some support. Lamont. All right now. Lamont Wiggins. That's right. Lamont Wiggins. Needing some giving me my support that I need. Because we need to support him come election. All right, who else is out there that can give me some support? You know, we got another good Democrat sitting out there. She trying to be all cool just because she's sitting beside her husband and she acting like she, you know, all that. Miss Linda Knight, you a good Democrat. Give me some support. That's right. Let yourself be seen and heard. That ain't what your mama told you, but Lamont did, so it's all right. And then, you know, we got another good Democrat out there. He is always on the job. He's always bringing us the news. He's always letting you know who said this and who did that. And he's always letting you know who should be doing this and who should be doing that. Camilla Stanton. You
Camilla Stanton, here he is, the man behind the camera. You can't see him, but we will let you know he's here behind the camera.
All right, now he's behind that camera. I see some more good Democrats out there. I see y'all.
Come to Tarboro. No, I didn't.
And then they over there got those educators talking to June Atkinson.
Okay.
Because, you know, they in the school system, of course, they're going to go back out and they're going to get people registered to vote. And that's another responsibility. You need to go and make sure that you pick up some forms and help people make sure that they are registered to vote. That's one thing I look around today and that tells me we got our jobs cut out for us. We have really got to get busy. This is one of those elections that's crucial.
Hey, how are you, sir?
It's going to be life-changing if the right people don't get up in there. So we have to make sure that we take the banner, that we take the Democratic banner and we run with it. That's going to start by you making sure that everybody in your household, everybody in your family is registered to vote, and then that they go and vote. And then you go outside of your household and you look around you in your community and you make sure that everyone is registered to vote and that they go and vote. And then you're going to go outside of your community and you do what you need to do to make sure that people are registered and that they vote, because this is a life-changing election. And we don't want it to be negative. But if you don't do what you need to do, it could end up like that. Are we ready over here? Are you ready over there?
Right, right.
Take him off his job, come out here. He almost couldn't be here, so I could not let him reach the country for us. This is a talented young man. I appreciate his sister, Tony Suggs. He's president of our school at Tarboro High, doing what he can do with our kids. I appreciate all of this effort today. You just don't know when the adversary tries to come against you, God got another plan. So the young man is here, and I want him to at least bless him with songs as we had asked him to do.
All right, we're going to let our Commissioner of Insurance, who has to go to another location, come on up and give us a few comments. Mr. Godwin.
Any Democrats in the House? All right, well, my name is Wayne Goodwin. I'm our State Insurance Commissioner. It is great to be back here in Tarboro, being here with you in Edgecombe County, and it's a delight to be also here with my colleagues, June Atkinson, whom you heard a moment ago from. She's our Superintendent of Public Instruction, and under her leadership, we've had our graduation rates go from 68% to 86%, so let's hear it for June Atkinson. And then coming up, I think, right after me is our esteemed Dean of the Delegation Council of State, Elaine Marshall, our Secretary of State. Let's hear it for Elaine Marshall. All right, I've only got a couple of minutes here with you because I want to hear what Elaine has to say and get to meet more of our good Democrats here. Being your insurance commissioner, there's a lot I can share with you, but I want to tell you this. There has never been a Republican in this office, and there never will be. Right? I'm the 10th Commissioner of Insurance since 1899. The 10th Commissioner, they've all been Democrats, and they've all been fighting for folks like us. The big difference between having a Democrat in this office and having one of those Republicans in the office is that as Insurance Commissioner, a Democrat is fighting for the people. And on my watch, as our Insurance Commissioner, fighting for you, I've ordered insurance companies to send money back. They've refunded money, rebated money. They've had to cut their rates. I've ordered them to do that and saved us $2.5 billion. Now also, when people say, why does it matter who our insurance commissioner is? Well, it matters because I see a lot of vehicles in my sight line. And if you want to know about car insurance, on my watch, as your insurance commissioner fighting for you, we have the lowest average car insurance premiums, not just in the South, but in the entire country here in North Carolina. And also, people say, why does it matter you have a commissioner of insurance? Well, it matters you have a commissioner of insurance because just this past month, the Court of Appeals, our judges, a bipartisan Court of Appeals ruled that I made a decision that saves our homeowners in the state $600 million. All right. That's a lot of money. That's important. That's why it matters who our Commissioner of Insurance is. Now let me tell you something else about this office, because again, I only got a couple of minutes. I'm not able to tell you everything about what this office can do and how I'm fighting for you. But when people say, well, why does it matter if we vote for the Democrat versus the Republican? I've already given you some statistics there. But here's the ones I want you to also remember. The other fellow running this race, the Republican running this race, is a former insurance company executive. Do you want to have an insurance company executive determining how much your insurance costs are? No! I can't hear you. No! The fellow who's running this race, in fact, this is his 5th time running for insurance commissioner. He is also a former paid insurance lobbyist. Do we want an insurance company lobbyist regulating insurance companies in North Carolina? I can't hear you. Now, it is so important that we remember those things. And let me tell you, I mentioned a moment ago, this is his 5th time running for this office. 5th time. And the only way I can figure out why he would be so much interested in this office is that the insurance industry is desperate to have one of their own in charge of this office. And in the states where they have an insurance commissioner that is tied to the insurance industry, rates are higher, consumer protections are lower, and we all get the shaft. And we don't want the shaft, do we? No! My name is Wayne Goodwin. I've saved you $2.5 billion. I'm fighting the insurance companies day in and day out. My team investigates insurance fraud, and we protected senior citizens along with Elaine Marshall and her team. We've been able to go after these bad guys who've been scamming our senior citizens, and we got the lowest car insurance rates in the country. I don't know about you, but that's a strong enough reason, if not the very reason, we need to keep a Democrat in this office. I'm Wayne Goodwin, your Commissioner of Insurance, and God bless you, Tarboro. You want me to introduce our next special guest? Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the best Secretary of State in the entire United States of America, our one, our only, our friend, your friend, always our friend, Elaine Marshall.
Good. I like following Wayne because if you're hard of hearing, you already got your hearing aid already turned on. So it's good. It's delightful to be with you today. I say I'm in Sheriff Knight's house, so I'm glad to be here with one of the finest sheriffs North Carolina's got. And we work side by side with him at the Secretary of State's office and other sheriffs across this state every week, every year. Let me tell you a little bit about the Secretary of State's office and myself. I am a practicing lawyer. I've been your Secretary of State for a while now. I was first elected 20 years ago. Hard to believe. I was just in high school then. And I had that race against Richard Petty. Anybody remembers that one? People all around this state rolled up their sleeves and said, we believe in you. You're qualified for the job. And he's got name recognition, but it comes from something different than public service. Now, if that sounds like what's going on at the federal level, I think there are some parallels. Let's all work very, very hard to get the qualified candidate who's got everything right going for her with regard to education, temperament, experience, rather than somebody who's really a huckster from the circus and gotten his notoriety somewhere else. So let's all work very hard to elect Hillary, the first woman president, because you all helped elect me, the first woman to executive branch office here in North Carolina. So thank you for allowing me to serve. The Secretary of State's office is business support. If things go like averages do, and they tend to work that way, yesterday we probably incorporated 365 business corporations, limited liability companies, or nonprofits. That's the rate at which we do our work. We are registering for banks and other lenders thousands of lien papers that lawyers and business people use every day of the week to make good business decisions. That's what your Secretary of State's office does. We help people start business, and then we help others make good decisions by providing valuable information on our databases. And what's important to you is how we've embraced technology, because people in Edgecombe County are on the same level playing field with their business information as somebody who's in Wake County sitting in the shadow of the office. Technology makes that happen. So we've got a level playing field in North Carolina, and you can access our databases for the wonderful price of zero, free, and as long as there's breath in my body, you as the citizens are going to have access to all this stuff that's in our databases for the grand total of nothing. Just your time to go look and search for what you want. Now, part of my job is also just like Wayne's. I have law enforcement. I am so pleased with my staff. We are into protecting seniors and others from scam artists. You know, Bernie Madoff is our famous, newest North Carolina resident. But we got plenty of mini Madoffs running on around here who would like to separate from our seniors in particular their hard-earned retirement money and their nest egg. And that's part of my job. And with Wayne and Attorney General Cooper, we do a lot of programs around the state on that. In fact, we're doing one Wednesday or Thursday in Wilmington, trying to tell people what they need to know to hold on to their good hard money. But I'm so proud of my agency because just 2 weeks ago, the International Financial Crime Investigator Group gave an award to us for breaking a case. Unfortunately, $75 million was scammed. It was outside of Charlotte. 91 people. It was a very complex, elaborate scam. 91 people were charged. Some of them did not go to jail because they were not as heavily involved, but they had some other penalties to pay. And we ended up with the top dog getting 30 years in prison for scamming people out of their hard-earned savings. This award was for cooperation that was between law enforcement agencies. It was the Internal Revenue Service, the FBI, your North Carolina Secretary of State's office, and the Real Estate Board. It was about land and houses and that kind of stuff, which is why the real estate people were in on it. Now, I took on banks before that was even cool in 2008, because earlier we caught the banks in a conflict of interest and had over $2 billion returned to North Carolina investors back in their accounts. I'm very proud of that work that we've done.
We also work to prosecute folks who are putting counterfeit goods out there in the community, things that are harmful, either electric products that are shoddy made knockoffs, probably coming from China, but they're not the only bad actor in all this. And now we're seeing things that are problems for people's health, damaging to their health. We found counterfeit perfume, which makes people break out all over their skin, and some people go, they smell it and take it into their lungs, which is just horrible. We're also seeing counterfeit contact lenses that young ladies mostly are buying at nail salons and flea markets and places like that, and they're getting eye infections, and I have an optometrist who is following 2 seriously injured young women in Fayetteville. She thinks one of them is going to have permanent eye damage from these kinds of things. So that's what we're doing. We're out there to protect you. These are health and safety issues, and besides, they're brought here by organized crime. They're the kind of things that support gangs, and none of us want to support gang violence, support Al-Qaeda, terrorists of all sorts. So those are the kind of things that keep me busy every day. I've received awards in all those years. I've just finished my term as National President of the Secretary of State's Association. I'm very proud of my colleagues for doing that. And but I'm more proud to serve the citizens of North Carolina. You've honored me by your vote, and a wonderful vote out of Edgecombe County, time and time again. I'm here asking for you to do that again. You need to know my name, because voting the straight ticket is not going to do it this time, because there is no straight ticket. I'm Elaine Marshall. I hope I've told you enough about my law enforcement. You just need to think the marshal's coming to town, and I'm it. The marshal's coming, and I'm it. So thank you all. Elaine Marshall for Secretary of State. Thanks.
Let's give her another real round of applause as she goes back down.
Thank you so much.
We are so grateful to her for coming down to the great Tarboro, North Carolina, as we celebrate being good Democrats. At this time, wanted to bring to you none other than our very, very own wonderful clerk of court, Miss Carol Allen White. Give her a hand.
Thank you. But anyway, she's invited us September 24 to come to her church that we did last time. September 24.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give it up for our greatest cheerleader here in Edgecombe County. Let's give it to her, y'all. Isn't she just marvelous? Give her a hand clap. Praise God. I'm just so grateful, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm thankful for the Edgecombe County Democratic women and what you're doing and how you're representing us, and for me being a part of it, and how you understand, if you don't see me, that I'm still working for the good of our area, because we know it stretches from the east to the west. Amen? All righty. I am Carol Allen White. I'm your clerk of court for Edgecombe County for the state of North Carolina as a judge of probate. I really, truly enjoy serving each one of you, and give yourselves a hand for all that you do. Thank you so much. I am officially elected official, not a candidate in the 2016 election, but I'm always running for office, so I hope that you keep me in 2018. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is a different day that we're living in, and it's very important time for us to register and vote, and have our family register and vote. Get registration forms from the County Board of Elections and the Public Library, as in with these handouts that you have. And it's so important that we know what our rights are, and we know that even, and I see with one of the brochures being locked up, don't mean locked out. If you've been convicted of a felony, you temporarily lose the citizenship rights, including your right to vote, but you automatically get your rights back in North Carolina after you serve a sentence, including probation and parole.
And you do not need a special document that says your rights are restored. You just register and vote like any other citizen. That's very important for us to know. As a clerk of court, we have all types court. We are always busy. I have 2 offices, one here at the main courthouse in Tarboro and the satellite office in Rocky Mount. We had 26 people when I started, when I was first elected in 1990 and had served as 12 years as a deputy clerk and being re-elected in 1998. Coming back in 1998, we have, with the reduction in force and with the state, we have lost 5 employees. So that makes a difference in your planning, and it's so very important that we have all these speakers that have come out today elected to office to make sure that our office and our courts are running effectively and efficiently. As the clerk of court, we are the managers of the staff as well as custodians of the records, record keepers, and also making sure that our bookkeeping and our finance are in order and every dollar belongs to someone in this county or throughout this state. It belongs to the state. Wearing many hats with the district court and superior court. We're always having a court that's going on basically every day of the week other than Fridays, and during that time our staff, who is marvelous, are normally what they're doing is getting prepared for another court for the following week and working with different judges. It's very important that we elect judges and our representatives, the people who have the heart of our community, because as a clerk of court, I see so many hurting families that comes through the door who is in need of a second chance. We see the arrest, and then we see them in our courtroom. And we don't just see the number, but we see people and family who we are representing. The brokenness. We see people who needing a second chance, people with reentry. We see people with domestic violence, involuntary commitment, adoptions, passports, estates, anything that you can name comes through our doors. And so with my name being Carol, I care for you and I have a lot of compassion for families, and I feel that you care for me as well because you have elected me in serving my 6th term as your clerk of court. And I want to just say thank you, and even on last week I had the opportunity to be in Nags Head. And my peers, there's 100 clerks of courts for the state of North Carolina, have elected me to be the chair of the legislative committee for the clerks of court. And I'm just so honored by that. As well as they elected me to be the first vice president of the clerk of courts for the body of 100 clerks of courts in Edgecombe County. I thank you all so very much for what you do. If I or my staff can be of help to you, please be in contact with us. If you can't get me, that's why I have a supportive staff. If I can't trust the people that I've appointed, then we have an issue. But thanks be to God, and I always have to give him the glory. And thank you all as well for the prayers. So often, so many of you know with my mom being ill since last year, and really has taken illness situation since May, in and out of the hospitals. I solicit your prayers for my mom, my family, and strength for all of us as I do the same for your family. And I just enjoyed the music, and again, let's give it up for the Edgecombe County Democratic women. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's give our cheerleader a hand as she's coming on. All right. You know, it don't make you just feel proud to have someone of this caliber representing us.
Thank you, love y'all.
Is there any other official out in the audience at this time that we have not recognized or given an opportunity to come up and give us a few words? Okay, now y'all need to step up, because if you don't step up, I'm gonna step out, and when I step out, I'm gonna be talking Democrat. But I wanted to give you a chance because, you know, all this Democratic energy that's all inside of us, It just needs to come out. You just need to say, Democrat! 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 Don't you feel better? I know, right? It's just good to be out with people that are good people. And see, you can always tell a good person. You can always tell a person that has a good heart. You can always tell a person that has a fair mind. You can always tell a person that has a loving spirit. Because all you got to do is ask them, what are they? And if they say Democrat, then you know you're dealing with a good person. Is that right? Okay. Y'all know I'm biding time here. I'm just biding time for Viola to get back. And I'm biding time for election to come up. Oh, let me tell you something. Let me tell you this. We are so blessed. We are just blessed on top of blessed. It couldn't get no better than to have none other than Shelley Willingham here with us today. Give him a big, loud round of applause. Now this is one of the best Democrats that it is, especially coming from Rocky Mount. What you think? Hi. Welcome, welcome, and we're going to let you take the stage.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, this ain't the day. I tell you, I just came over to see what was going on, and she tells me that you're blessed because I'm here. Well, I'm blessed because I'm here, and I appreciate that. I think this is a great event, and let me just say that we always say that every election is the most important. Well, this one, you know, is truly one of the most important elections that we'll participate in. And I just want to say to you that what you do here today and what you between now and election time is really going to make a difference. And also, it's very important. And there are events like this all over the state that's happening. And this is what's going to make the difference on election day. Because it is going to be a close election, and the polls are tightening up, and some of our people seem to be getting complacent. But for us to win this election, you know, we're going to have to get everybody out, and everybody's going to have to do their part. And you can't worry about what other people do, but you as an individual, you're going to have to do your part. And that means that you're going to have to get everybody in your house, all your friends, to go out and vote. And early voting starts on the 20th, so we can go ahead and get people voted. Don't have to wait till election day in November. The other thing too is that absentee vote has already started, so go ahead and do that. Those people who won't be able to get out, those who won't be around town or whatever, go ahead and get them to vote. Young people, go ahead and get them signed up. Then go ahead and vote absentee too, because there's nothing that we can't do if we work together doing that. So I just want to say to you from the North Carolina House Democrats, what we're doing, we're traveling around the state, and we think we have some great candidates, and we think that we're going to be able to get that +4 number. And what that means is that we'll be able to stop the supermajority, which is in the House. In order for that to work, we need to elect Cooper as our governor. And then all of a sudden, the House Democrats become a force because they would have to negotiate with us because the veto power is something that the governor will have. And then, of course, the Republicans won't be able to override that if we have the right numbers. And we feel like we have a great chance of picking up that +4 or 5. But we need 4, but we're trying to get about 6 or 7. And again, I said we have some great candidates around the state. That's what I'm doing now. I don't have an opponent, but I'm traveling around the state working with those candidates. I serve as chairman of our recruitment committee for this year, this election. And we think we've recruited some real good candidates, and we're real anxious about them because they're doing a great job campaigning, and we want to make sure that we're able to support them. The other thing too is that in the state, with the voters election stuff that we're going through right now, if we have a Democratic governor, and also that means that we'll be able to take our board of elections back, and we wouldn't be going through this stuff that we're experiencing
That's
right
right.
now about voting places and whether we should have enough or whether we're putting voting sites where there are few people, but putting voting sites where Republicans are and trying to put them away from Democrats. And that's happening around the state. So it's more important, it's really important that we get the governor and also get more Democrats elected in the General Assembly. So again, I would say thank you and keep doing what you're doing. And believe me, what you do matters. So thank you again and continue to have a great day.
Do we have any other elected officials, whether they're running or not, in the audience who have not had an opportunity to come up and address your citizens?
Amen.
All right. Deborah? Jordan? Your city councilwoman?
Ms. Jordan to come to the podium. I wanted to remind everyone that we do have some tables that set out for you. And on these tables is some very, very important information. What you will see if you'll go by these tables and check, you'll see a flyer that looks like this that says our candidates. Make sure you get one of these for you and for your family and anybody else that you think may be able to use this. This is a very important flyer because on the back of this you have your county early voting sites and the times. So make sure that you pick up one of these with the candidates on one side, the voting schedule and voting sites and times on the other side. We also have out there, and you can look for this, is a North Carolina Democratic Party statewide slate of candidates. Very convenient, a listing with the names, what office they're running for, and a picture to help you identify. One of the good things about it is that you've heard from a lot of these people today. So make sure you pick up some of these or one of these. Our gift to you from Edgecombe County Democratic Women is a fan that says, "Vote North Carolina Blue." So make sure that you have this fan with you and you just go around and you put it in folks' faces and say, "Vote North Carolina Blue." All right? Also, if you like these beautiful t-shirts, tell me what you think. If you like these beautiful t-shirts and you would also like to look beautiful, then you have the opportunity to just go right over to the table with the green umbrella and talk with the ladies over there, and they can tell you how you also can be beautiful voting North Carolina Blue. For those of you that volunteered and came out, for sister counties that came out, for coming out and showing your faithfulness, your goodness as a Democrat. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you. And now, another good Democrat, to give you a few words, none other than our very own Miss Deborah Jordan.
Good afternoon, everybody. So glad you all could come out. I stand before you to tell you thank you for your support for the town of Tarboro, for the Edgecombe County Commissioners. We don't only serve just our wards, but we serve the entire town and county. If any time I can be of assistance to you, please call me. All my information's on the town of Tarboro website. It's just an honor to serve my community. It means so much to me. No issues too small, no issues too big. If you come to me, we together we can make a difference. And so I want to tell you thank you again. Thank all my volunteers that came out this morning, that showed up, my faithful ones. They know who they are, doesn't matter. Neighbors, friends, my surrounding counties, all my other elected officials. I appreciate each and every one of you for what you do to serve our community. And we're here for you all. Just believe that it doesn't matter. We're here for you all. I'm here for the whole town of Tarboro, not just my ward. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, let's get out here and turn this county blue. Help us get the word out. Those of you that know there's elderly or handicapped people that cannot get to the poll or doesn't have any transportation to get to the poll, this is a time that you can be very beneficial to those individuals by getting them an absentee ballot. And once their actual ballot is mailed to them, help them fill it out. But it has to be turned in by either them or you have to put a stamp on it and mail it back to the Board of Elections. So that is a very, very valuable tool to use as an absentee ballot. You know you're not able to come here and there might be a line standing. We do not want anyone to go back home and not cast their vote for the candidate of their choice. So that is an option that you can use. So you know individuals that may have a problem getting to the poll one way or another during early voting or on regular election day, please assist them now to get their vote in by obtaining them an absentee ballot, and you can take it to them, help them fill it out, and you can bring that back in, their request for absentee, for a ballot. Once they get the ballot, then you can help them fill it out, but it has to either be mailed in or that person has to be bring it in person to the poll. I thank you again for your support for everything that you do, and have a great day.
All right, you've heard a lot of speeches, you've seen a lot of faces. Now, teamwork makes the dream work. All those folks that you've seen and heard from, let's not let this be the only time that we connect with them. Now, they've offered that they're going to serve us. So if you have a question, call them up. We've got to put them to the test. All right? Now, on that ballot, you will look down at the bottom and you will see this little girl that was born in the big town of Leggett, North Carolina. Her name is Viola Harris. And I am running for Edgecombe County Commissioner in District 2. There are 56,000 people in Edgecombe County. Although my district is part of, on this side of Maine and Tarboro, Princeville, Canada, and part of Speed, I represent all 56,000 people in Edgecombe County. I can tell you that I actually know somebody in all 7 districts of Edgecombe County. That's the kind of representation that you want on the board. You don't want a commissioner who only knows people in his town, in his district, or her district. You want somebody that doesn't mind going to Pine Tops when necessary, Macclesfield, Leggett, Speed, wherever it is. I'm your person. Most of you, all of you should know me because I have a big mouth and I kind of get around every now and then. Yay! But I want to bring the issue that we've all danced around all day. On Thursday, at the Senior Citizen Breakfast, Democracy North Carolina reported to us that 12 12,000 people in Edgecombe County are not registered to vote. 12,000. 2,900 of them live in the town of Tarboro. So that says that Deborah and I have some work to do between now and November the 8th. It also told us that on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mount, there's over 7,300 people unregistered to vote. 12,000. Do you know what 12,000 could do at the ballot box? Do you know what a difference 12,000 could make on November the 8th on whether we have somebody in the White House who's going to represent us, whether we are brown, blue, green, female, male, or undecided? We have got to get those 12,000 people registered to vote. Nash County is saying that there are shoes on the ground, boots on the ground. Well, Edgecombe County women, I want you to tell another Edgecombe County woman. They say we are good at telling things. We are good at talking about things. So let's get talking about making Edgecombe County residents registered to vote. And there's no need to get them registered if we don't get them to the polls. So let's go ahead and start a chain. If your vehicle is available between October 20th and November the 8th, make sure the Edgecombe County Democratic women know, so that when we're making those calls, we can tell that senior, somebody will pick you up and take you to the polls. Now don't say you're going to do it and not do it. Democrats are women and men of their word, especially in Edgecombe County. So that's how we're going to make Edgecombe County completely blue, by making sure we get people registered to vote. As I told the seniors, if you have a son, daughter, granddaughter, grandson living in your house, don't let them sit at your table if they're not registered to vote. The reason I say that is because if they don't vote, many of the things that are being changed up in Raleigh and in D.C. will determine whether you, the grandmother, has a place to live, whether you still have Social Security, whether you can get food stamps, and then they won't have a house to live in or a table to sit at. So that's why they need to get out and vote. All right. We're going to let our Democratic chair come back up and leave without making sure you knew the facts. That this storm is brewing, as I told you when I first started. And it's a political storm, and we got to get in the midst of it, which means you can't sit in your big houses and say, it doesn't bother me. You can't sit at your businesses and say, it doesn't bother me. Every unemployed person in Edgecombe County, every locked up young man at the county jail is one of ours. We've got to make sure we have good judges. We've got to make sure that we have people making decisions about our children's education who really care about all the children, not just a part of the children. All right? So let's get out and vote. Let's get other people registered to vote. And make sure if your vehicle, your church vehicle is available, make sure we know it. So if we find somebody that needs a ride, we know who to call. All right? Thank you.
All right. $12,000 people not registered to vote. If every one of you, before you leave here, will take one voter registration form with you and ask everybody you see, everybody you know, everybody you think you might know has already been registered. They might not be, or they might need to update their registration because they changed their name due to divorce or marriage, or they've moved because they sold their house or bought a new house or moved into a different apartment. They need to be registered at their current location. take one of these, do your best and have their person fill it out. They can mail it in or very easy. On the back, you can just fold it, put the address there. Here in Edgecombe County, it's very easy. It's Post Office Box 10, Tarboro, North Carolina. Mail it right here to the Board of Elections. You can bring it in, but if it's easier to mail, you can bring it in or mail it, either one. Or you can volunteer to take it in yourself for them. Help them fill it out and bring it in yourself. That way, we know that they're registered, they will be able to vote. If they don't get a chance to register, they can still register during early voting. The dates and times, as we've said, are on the back of the flyer. Also, the time limits for the absentee ballot. We've been talking about absentee balloting. That's very important for someone who's been ill, someone who doesn't get out a lot. It's very convenient. You request it by mail, it comes to you in the mail, you send it back by mail. You can request it in person, and you can take it in by hand deliver it right here to the Board of Elections, but you don't have to. The convenience of the absentee balloting is it can go in the mail. It's got the information of when you need to register at the one-stop voting during early voting, what you need to bring as a form of identification and address. Now, we have the support of the judicial system saying that the Republican-backed voter suppression bill, the monster ID law, has been stayed and overturned. And so you don't have to have a voter ID with a photo by a government agency only in a limited number of forms. You do not have to have that to vote this year, even though they've been advertising it for years. Am I right? Am I right? Right. We knew it was voter suppression, and the court said, duh. All right. You still need to have some kind of identification to register. And that's your identification, and that's right here at the bottom on the back of the flyer. So I wanted to point that out to you. I also wanted to point out that Charles Meeker is running as Commissioner of Labor. And we want to make sure that the next time we get in an elevator, we don't see Sherry Berry's name written on the inspection sticker. Because she can take time to stamp her name on the inspection sticker of every elevator, but she can't take time to help workers who've been cheated of their wages and their overtime by their employers. So we need to elect Charles Meeker for Commissioner of Labor, stronger emphasis on worker safety through education, and correct classification of people who are exempt from overtime, so that overtime is paid to people who are doing hourly wage work and that they are paid what they are owed. He used to be Raleigh's mayor. He's been 8 years on the city council in Raleigh before that. His flyer information is on the table. He is also a candidate for one of the offices in our Council of State. We also had scheduled to come and appear today Dan Blue III. He's unable to make it. Dan Blue III is running for treasurer. He's running to replace Janet Cowell, who is not running for re-election. And we really need to make sure that we do all we can to elect Dan Blue. His family has been in politics a long time. He is a lawyer who has worked with the Treasurer's Department, and he knows what is going to be needed. He has the backing of our current treasurer, Janet Cowell, and he's a good Democrat. And let me tell you, that's what we need, more and better Democrats. Yay! All right. Now, Miss Viola, and thank you for coming and speaking your speech. I appreciate it. She said that the Army says they've got boots on the ground when they go somewhere. And we say shoes on the ground somewhere when we say we're doing our walking. And the Nash County women say heels on the ground. But I want you all to look at what I've got on the ground today. I've got on my Usain Bolt shoes. And before that, Michael Johnson. They wore gold shoes because they were the fastest men on earth. in the Olympics. And I may not be the fastest person, but I'm going to go the strongest, and I'm going to go the longest, and it's going to be from here to November 8th. So I want all of you to lace up your gold shoes, whatever color they may be, and get out here and help us register those who have not registered. And ask people to be a voter. It's very important. If you just ask someone to vote, they can vote or not vote, and it didn't make a difference. But if you ask them to be a voter and to embrace being a voter as one of the characteristics of who they are, then a voter votes. A voter just doesn't sit home. And that pledge is important. We have faithful voter cards on the table here, and if there's anyone who would like to fill that out, if you have an email address, you will be emailed your precinct for election day. And the card is double-sided. It has your place for you to put your address on the other side. The card will be mailed back to you to remind you when early voting is started, to remind you to vote so that you don't let it slip by you. These cards are part of a citizens initiative in civics and responsibility that will be in the churches next Sunday, not tomorrow, but the fourth Sunday. So you may see that card again. And I want to say one more thing about patriotism. As far as our elections, we have our red, white, and blue flags and our shirts and our tablecloths. There's one party that seems to think that they are the only party and the only members that can be patriotic. But patriotism is love and support of your country. It's not the same kind of love and support we give our family members and friends, because we don't try to change our family members and friends. We love them for who they are, and we accept them for who they are. Right? But when it comes to our country, we are the government. Our elected officials are people we hire to work for us. And if you've ever run a business or you've ever hired a babysitter or a lawn service, then you check out their credentials, you call for references, you look at their resume, you give them instructions, you have the orientation session, and then you let them do the work you're paying them to do, and if they don't do it right, well, you can have a counseling session, but if not, they get fired. And we've got some people that need firing, because we are not sitting up here saying we're patriotic and accepting our government for what it is. We're being patriotic to make it the best government it can be. We're being patriotic to improve it, to work for all of our citizens, to take care of our citizens, to work for peace and prosperity for all of us, and justice for all of us, and good education for our children. Now, I made a couple of notes, so I want to make sure I didn't forget something that I thought was pretty important. Elaine Marshall just reminded me that as Democrats in North Carolina, we have the strongest ticket we have ever had. So we need to make sure that we tell our friends and neighbors that that is another reason that we need to vote. We have ages, we have gender diversity, we have racial diversity, especially among the judicial slate. We have people running to help govern us who look like us, who are like us, who have the experiences that we have, who came from where we come from. And that's who you want when you go to court. That's who you want when you need to call someone and say you have a problem that needs fixing, it needs government assistance. Bill Clinton said the other night on one of the talk shows he was on that we need to give people positive options. We need to give them answers, not anger, and empowerment, not resentment. We want to make something good happen, and it's better than constant fighting. Well, I'm here to tell you that women make things happen. And the Democratic women of Edgecombe County has had as one of their slogans, "Women make things happen." And I'd like for you to look around and see what we made happen today. And I appreciate that you came. I want to let you know that we also decided to name this event Vote North Carolina Blue, because we need to make sure that everyone knows that the Democratic slate is strong and the Democratic candidates are the ones that we are supporting. I also want to let you know that, It'll come to me. Just for a guess, you can look around. There's a mix here. We've got women and men. I'd say probably a few more women than men. Women make up 54% of the population. Women not only get things done, we're absolutely the ones with the power if we only use it. We are 54%. If we came out and voted, we would have 54% of the votes right there. We wouldn't have to worry about who was voting for someone else. So tell your friends, especially tell your women friends, we are 54%. We have the power. We just have to use it. Now I want to tell you, we've been waiting for the representative for Deborah Ross to come. She is our candidate for the Senate, and I am so glad that I'm going to be able to watch her take her oath of office. We have our candidate for Deborah Ross here, our representative.
Hey everybody! Thank y'all so much for having me. I don't know if y'all heard, but I grew up in Williamston, so it's good to be home. I had a dad that his first job was at Blue Ridge Shoe Factory. Yeah. And my granddad took pictures for the Bethel paper, so it's nice to be back. And yeah, so that's kind of why I'm here. I had family that always told me that your voice counts. Every vote that you have and you can get your friends to do counts for something. And that's why I work for Deborah, which she is incredible. She is as brilliant as she is compassionate, and that's exactly what we need in office. Yeah, well, thank y'all so much. Please remember to get your friends out, get your family out. The person you met at 5 minutes at Piggly Wiggly, get them out to vote, and vote for Deborah, vote for all the incredible candidates we have. It's a good year, and it's our year, for sure. So, yeah, thank y'all so much. I'll be around if y'all have any questions.
Thank you. And please hit her up with any questions you have about Deborah Ross. We have had 12 years of Senator Burr. He has announced that he is retiring at the end of his either this or next term. Let's go ahead and help him retire early, okay? Woo! Right. Whoa. That is a rousing agreement with the crowd. Absolutely. I want to let you all know that we have...
Hey everybody! Thank y'all so much for having me. I don't know if y'all heard, but I grew up in Williamston, so it's good to be home. I had a dad that his first job was at Blue Ridge Shoe Factory. Yeah. And my granddad took pictures for the Bethel paper, so it's nice to be back. And yeah, so that's kind of why I'm here. I had family that always told me that your voice counts. Every vote that you have and you can get your friends to do counts for something. And that's why I work for Deborah, which she is incredible. She is as brilliant as she is compassionate, and that's exactly what we need in office. Yeah, well, thank y'all so much. Please remember to get your friends out, get your family out. The person you met at 5 minutes at Piggly Wiggly, get them out to vote, and vote for Deborah, vote for all the incredible candidates we have. It's a good year, and it's our year, for sure. So, yeah, thank y'all so much. I'll be around if y'all have any questions.
Thank you. And please hit her up with any questions you have about Deborah Ross. We have had 12 years of Senator Burr. He has announced that he is retiring at the end of his either this or next term. Let's go ahead and help him retire early, okay? Woo! Right. Whoa. That is a rousing agreement with the crowd. Absolutely. I want to let you all know that we've certainly had some great music, and we've spent a lot of time talking, and we've got t-shirts for sale. Look what she said about talking to the person in the grocery store. I had a woman come up to me in the line in the grocery store and tap my shoulder because I was wearing this t-shirt, and she said, "Where can I go to find out information about the Democratic women?" And I said, "Well, I'll talk to you right here and now." So this is what we can do. We can take advantage of every opportunity to get our residents educated, registered, and to the polls. We set up a little fundraiser on the side over here where we have some drinks and some water and some chips and some cakes. And we appreciate everything you've done to help support us. Because we're getting to the end of the event, we're going to have a 2 for $1 special. So please drop $1 on us and get you chips or cake and a drink. And you can have one more free hot dog. How about that? Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to play out with some music now.